तुमसे प्यार हुआ, पहली बार हुआ, तुमसे प्यार हुआ, बेताबी मेरी जो कहो मैं क्या करूं। इवेंट मैनू मंगदा तेरा भी दिल न जदा, मैनू मंगदा तेरा भी दिल बजदा, मोहल्ले विच तू सना जा।
He's awake. Remini, how do you feel?
We're all here.
Where?
The infirmary, at the Fortress of Meripede, Mr. Fremine. And you are no longer in any danger. How do you feel? Don't push yourself.
Traveler. The sea. There's something wrong with the seawater. Shh, it's okay. We can talk. No, listen to me. This is really serious. There's primordial seawater mixed into the regular seawater. I don't know why it's there, but no one should touch it. Pipes. Right, the pipes. It's all coming back to me now.
तन्नू तकिया मेरा दिल।
I'm in. Where could Master Child be? Huh. This mechanism looks like it's been tampered with. Could he have done it? It's getting stuck on something. Seems like I'll have to avoid those obstacles while I turn it. This is where the water starts. Okay. Master Child probably dived into the water. I'll go take a look as well. The vegetation here is a bit more sparse. These traces aren't natural. A person must have left them, and recently. I should be there are traces here too. I need to keep going. Huh? The traces are gone. But I don't see where he could have gone from here. Wait. What the? My heart is racing, and it's getting harder and harder to breathe. What's going on? No good. I have to get back. They still don't know anything about what's going on. If I turn back right now, I should still be able to make it. I can't die here. This is bad. I'm feeling worse and worse, and I'm still underwater. I have to push on.
So, in other words, the trail you were following vanished, and you had no idea where
That's right. I tried my best to swim back, but I had already put some distance between myself and the fortress.
Miss Clarande brought you back, but we also don't know why she just suddenly appeared at the...
Miss Clarande, you say? I must go.
You're still too weak, Fremine. You can go after you've... Miss Lynette is right. I believe Miss Clarande will stay here as a guest for another few days.
A guest? Then I can assume Risley was the one who invited...
You should ask His Grace about that. He'll be able to explain, but... Yeah, it's about time he actually told us what's going on. Wanna come with us, Liddy?
No, please go on without me. I don't want to leave just yet.
Money.
The logical part of my brain is aware that we're safe right now, but I still can't bring myself to leave. Both.
Understood. Then let's just sit together for a while.
In that case, I'll leave the infirmary to you. The Traveler and I are going to head out for now. As long as you stay in...
Thank you.
Surprise! Excuse me.
बोले कि घूम रहा है जब कितना बात क्या कर रहा है
I take it Mr. Fremonet's condition has stabilized?
Of course. I wouldn't have left the infirmary otherwise.
I've been expecting those two, but might I inquire as to the purpose of your visit, Miss Siegewing?
I wanted to check up on Miss Cloran. How are you feeling?
Mostly fine, I think.
If you don't mind, I'd like to perform another quick physical exam. It'll just take...
All right. Thank you for looking out for me. I'll take my leave for now then.
Well, want to explain yourself, Risley?
Of course, but I'm not partial to the word choice of explain. How about enlighten? Where should I begin? How about you start by asking me any questions you have? You can start with...
Then Paimon will begin. Did you know about...
No. I just knew they were Fatui operatives sent to the fortress by the Knave. As for their specific goals, I only figured...
You managed to monitor and stay ahead of them even though you didn't know what they were trying to do?
They came here with ulterior motives. I'm quite adept at discerning what that kind of behavior... Initially, I thought their goal was just to investigate Child's disappearance. Linny suggested that I had deliberately let him escape. But in truth, I didn't really do anything special to help or hinder him while he was here. Everything he did, from finding helpers to leaving this place, of course it's inevitable that the Knave would make a big deal out of her fellow Harbinger's unexplained... I'm also quite curious about where that Harbinger went. So I figured I might as well let the Fatui do their...
So you were hoping Linny's group would just do your...
You make it sound like that's a bad thing. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. I assume that Fremonet has told you already, the Forbidden Zone has always been Linny's target, and you got roped into that investigation after running into him. I began to intervene out of concern for your safety, and also to prevent the fortress from becoming entangled.
Are the rumors true? That you're also a former criminal?
Why would you put it like that? Isn't staying here all day and serving as the manager of the fortress a kind of sentence unto itself? Another form of prison? I just happen to have some support from the rest of the
Oh, right. Paimon wanted to ask, who
Me, of course. I paid her good mora to come down to the fortress for some field work. As a champion duelist, Miss Cloran could be considered to be an independent party. I needed to find an exceptionally capable person to help me get through the impending crisis.
And saving Fremonet was part...
You can think of it like that, yes. Credit where credit is due, that boy is quite adept at diving. Had conditions not been as hostile as they were, he probably would have found the missing Harbinger already. That's not something you should be asking after. Neuvillette only asked you to... All I need to prove to you is that the Forbidden Zone had nothing to do with the Harbinger's disappearance. That should be clear now that you've...
But we've already uncovered that there's something wrong with the infirmary, and we've answered a bunch of questions that you threw at us. Isn't it about time that...
You make a compelling case. Do you really...
Yeah, Paimon really wants to know.
Even if the truth may not be pleasant? Follow me.
door here? And a whole basement behind it? Huh. You're pretty good at hiding stuff, Risley.
It seems you've forgotten just what kind of place the Fortress of Meripede is.
Step on up.
Stand on the central plate.
Wait, is there a secret mechanism or... Whoa! So, this is the Forbidden Zone? Honestly, for a place so well hidden, Paimon should... What a huge door!
There are 3 such isolation gates in total. Generally speaking, I'm the only one who's allowed to go. Am I correct to assume you're going to run on back and tell your little Fatui friends everything?
Well, Paimon would...
Well, I'd advise you wait until you've seen the whole truth of this place for yourself before deciding.
Huh. So there's a switch on the side.
Stand back.
Whoa. They all just went up one by one.
Go on, have a look. I've been interested in what lies beyond that gate ever since I assumed leadership of the Fortress of Meripede. Of course, it would be unwise to recklessly open it, but it'd also be risky and negligent to simply... The readings on that dashboard have not budged since the day when I first laid eyes on this place. But over the past year, the needle has crept upwards from its original position, likely because some parameter it's been tracking has changed, if only infinitesimally. Normally, I would have ignored it, but I happened to have some free time when I noticed it, so I investigated. Any guesses what the reading could be tracked? Very reasonable guesses. I've considered both of those as well. Unfortunately, the temperature should vary with weather and climate changes, so for something that rarely shifts, the water pressure is more likely. We ran a few tests to increase the pressure from the outside, but the readings didn't change at all. Later on, a few more possibilities occurred to me, such as a potential connection with the primordial sea. Over the past few days, the needle has moved again. With that, and the symptoms that Fremine displayed after leaving the fortress, I can now confidently conclude...
The concentration of...
And that is precisely the problem. We're at the bottom of the sea, and now we're surrounded by toxic seawater. Somehow, primordial seawater got mixed in, and the concentration is steadily rising. Yes.
But forget about the 2 of us. Not even Novelette knows where the primordial sea could be, much less where we could find and plug a... Oh.
Seems like you've figured it out. I believe the primordial sea lies directly beneath this sluice gate. For some reason, the primordial seawater levels have risen significantly, and it's now very close. The indicators are now red. Although the gate still stands, some primordial seawater has already leaked out and mixed into the sea around us. If this continues, soon it will no longer be able to hold back the primordial sea at all. Yeah, you know what the legends say. If this place falls, then everyone in Fontaine will be turned into puddles in the span of a night.
But that's just too weird! Why would the Fortress of Meripede be built right above a sluice gate for the primordial sea?
Your expression tells me you think this might be part of a vast, complicated conspiracy. To be honest, it's just that the secret of the Forbidden Zone had been long forgotten by the nation before I rediscovered it with my research. There's no single founder of the Fortress of Meripede in any traditional sense. What we know about its history has been left to us. When the previous Hydro Archon, Egeria, ruled the land, all convicted criminals from Fontaine were exiled. The people drove the criminals away like a wolf pack chasing away the banished. The criminals received no sympathy of any kind from the people, They were exiled to the desolate seaside, where they experienced only pain, struggle, and the bone-chilling cold. Some of them began to repent and prayed to the Hydro Archon, asking if there was still anything they could do. The Hydro Archon took pity on them and said, "You may go guard my secret, deep underneath the waves." And so, leaning on the power of the Hydro Archon, they gathered underneath the sea and began to build a fortress. They became a community down there in the deeps, and over the years helped it to grow. As the number of exiles increased, more and more people joined the community. When the first group of exiles died, they left the yet unfinished fortress that the Hydro Archon continued to lend her support, allowing the fortress and what it stood for to continue growing ever larger. Before long, this dark underwater fortress became the sinner's only home. And with that, the people here stopped referring to the fortress as a prison. They saw themselves as repenting sinners who would regain their freedom once. But as time went on, people also realized that the fortress was a lonely place. Once they had gotten used to life here, they could no longer. Once they had finished serving their sentences, some people left and some others chose to stay. They'd find some idle position and let their withered souls fade away with the. After many, many centuries, few people still remember the reason for the fortress's founding. Now they just see it as an integral pillar of Fontanian society. Now and again, researchers manage to break one law or another and live out their days in the fortress. I learned all this from an elderly historian. Everyone else just...
But now you know every part of that.
Indeed. It's just as the prophecy says. If this gate failed, to be frank, not really. But sadly, that hasn't stopped this prophecy from... Prophecies are troublesome things. Just hearing one will create the first wave of panic. Seeing signs of it will bring about the second, and actually witnessing it in real... Let's go somewhere else. I want to show you something. This is it.
Your Grace, perfect timing. The results from our last round...
Wait, Jurier, he's not alone. Huh? Lorvine and you...
No need to panic, you two. I've already told them about our...
What? After you warned us not to tell a single soul about any of them?
I'm skeptical as well. Are you sure?
The results speak for themselves, don't they? These two may already know more than you could ever imagine.
All right then, if Your Grace insists.
They seem harmless enough, so I'll trust them for now.
How about some reintroductions? This is Jurier, one of the highest-ranked researchers from the Fontaine Research Institute. He used to work under Edwin. I trust that you've heard of Edwin?
He's the one who blew the whole institute sky high. Everyone knew he was a bit crooked in the head, but you're not a local, so...
Edwin's main areas of research were archeum and gravimeters. As his assistant, Jurier is quite familiar with them.
You want to blow up?
Ah, what a lovely idea. I'm already imagining...
Gotta admit, I'm tempted as well.
Guys, focus! Focus!
That taskmaster over there is Miss Lorvine, and is also one of my technical consultants. While Jurier used to be Edwin's assistant, she used to be Jurier's assistant.
Ooh, are they together?
See, everyone keeps asking this question. Are you too sure you're not a couple and just using your work as a convenient cover?
Your Grace, I am not in a relationship with this man.
If I dated her, I'd officially be madder than Edwin.
Jeez, forget I said anything then. Follow me.
Whoa, there's another door that goes right up.
Your constant amazement makes it seem like the fortress can do anything.
But Paimon really thinks everything's super cool.
Well, let's spice it up a bit. And here you go.
What a huge ship! This is also a production zone that Paimon's never seen before.
How much do you know about Fontanian history? Well, then maybe you haven't heard the story of ancient Lemuria. To give you a quick rundown, according to legend, the Lemurian king Remus came to this land after being inspired by divine revelation and found the seer Sibila, who had taken on the form of a golden bee. Taking the golden bee with him and riding on a huge ship, He called his nation Lemuria, and used the Fortuna to incessantly search for new tribes and islands, calling on them to join his empire.
There's a ship in this story too?
Where there's water, there'll be ships. People believe that hope can always be found at the end of a voyage.
Do you believe that?
To a point, I think. As you've already seen, I have a whole factory's worth of labor, materials, and technology at my disposal. Certainly can't hurt to give it a try. So the moment I began to speculate that the primordial sea might lie underneath the gate...
Were you inspired by the...
maybe. Fontanians need something to hold on to cope with the impending disaster. Were the workers to find out the truth behind this ship, riots would destroy the fortress As the fortress's administrator, I'd never make such a wreck. Alright, that's enough talking for now. I'll need another 3 cups of tea to soothe my throat. Do you have any... Seems like you're good. Come on, I'll take you back. I'll leave you here for now.
Oh!
No worries. But don't forget, it's up to you whether or not you want to share what you just saw. What you do from here on out will...
Yeah, we'll put a lot of thought into it for sure.
Great. I look forward to what happens next.
Surprise! We're back!
Welcome back. Do you want a cup of tea?
How can you be so much like Risley, always drinking tea?
Huh. Actually, now that you mention it, while I was sedated, I could still barely hear 2 people talking next to me. They were discussing everything, from the leaves to the water.
Must have been Risley and Seishween.
Yeah, I heard 1 male voice and 1 female, so it should have...
I really can't make sense of this place.
So, Traveler, Paimon, were you able to learn anything from Risley?
Yeah, he explained everything.
Very well. Then, would you mind checking your answers against my speculations? Yeah, I took the time to rest, so I'm...
Nobody else is around, and Miss Sejuin is also busy with something or other. So,
All right, then I'll posit my theories. I asked myself 3 questions. Firstly, why was Fremine affected by the primordial seawater? It was because he dove into the sea. My theory is...
Whoa, he's good.
That's our Lenny.
Secondly, Risley's attitude changed dramatically during the course of our stay here. He ignored us completely at first, then I spent quite a long time thinking about this. If he has been monitoring the Fatui since the very beginning, he probably ignored us at first because he was hoping we could find Master Child Fort. What's more, the Fortress of Meripede is not part of Fontaine's court system, nor does it report to Udex Nervulet. Risley is basically the king of a no-man's land. As long as the fortress doesn't do anything about Master Child's disappearance, Father can use it to pressure the Fontaine authorities. And while the 2 factions are pitted against each other, if I had to guess, he probably has something that he's working on himself. It's likely related to the secret of the infirmary, but
You're super...
Thanks so much. Then, if Risley does have a plan, what could it be? All I know for now is that his plan probably has something to do with the changing nature of the seawater. He's even gotten that can't be the full extent of what he's doing. There's probably a secret passageway behind the block in the infirmary, and there's something big in the fortress that most people here never get to see. He has a bargaining chip, and it could be important, and I don't have enough information, so I have no idea what his chip might be. But
I can't believe it.
the sea will engulf everyone. Just like the prophecy said.
Could Risley have wanted to meet Father to figure out a way to deal with this crisis? If you remember, I once mentioned that Father sees the House of the Hearth as her base of operations, and she truly wants to resolve the crisis.
Or perhaps he didn't know and just wanted to bring Father over to his side? Which could be why he said he just wanted to...
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I understand your concerns as well, Traveler. I'll figure out a way to pass this on to our father. No matter what, we're on your side. The two of you have already aided us far too much. We probably wouldn't be standing here right... If you ever need anything else going forward, please come to the House of the Hearth at any... Though you may not share the sentiment, after all that we've gone through together, the three of us basically...
You have my gratitude.
Thank you for protecting Linny when it really mattered. And thank you for sharing the secrets of the fortress with us. We didn't think you were going to do it.
Why are you being so formal all of a sudden? Paimon's hungry.
Oh, you've done so much.
Alright, then we'll catch you guys another time.
Over here!
Zip on up!
It's time for dinner. Welfare meals now being served in the coupon.
Come on, let's go pick up ours as well! Traveler Paimon, over here! Are you here for dinner too, Miss Sijwing? Uh-huh. And I'm taking the opportunity to prepare Miss Cloran's dinner as well. Huh. You're right. She's actually sitting in the fortress cafeteria. What would you like to eat? Yep, you can. I've already talked to our chef, Mr. Wolsey. It's all on me today, so you can get whatever you'd like. Me too! Don't forget Paimon! No problem. Just... so delicious. Is this how it feels to be freeloaders? Wait a second, we did do plenty of work after all. Feeling full yet? How's the food? Delicious! I'm so glad to see you all so happy. Oh, see, the expression on your face just now? But the muscle here just moved, which suggests that you're feeling quite... Sijween, do you do this to help your patients or to... A bit of both, I suppose. I'm a Melazine, which means I'm very different from human beings. I must know what you're thinking. You're really good at taking care of people. Even though you're so Really? You're reminded of an older sister? Oh, and what did you mean back in Risley's office? When you said that you were protecting... Oh, that. I just asked His Grace to look out for those children, especially that diver boy. I was getting a bit worried after hearing that thankfully, Clorand is very strong and managed to save him in the nick of time. His Grace also sealed the pipes after Clorand left, to make sure that Linny wouldn't impulsively... Although the path was blocked, we still stationed some guards there to stop anyone from approaching. They were instructed to only open the door... Oh, and I was keeping an eye on Mr. Linny as well. We had to press him, but we couldn't allow him. You were all super considerate and really thought it... It's just what we do down here at the fortress. At least this has been his... Oh... I really wish Monsieur Nervula would come down here more often, too. I feel like he'd like it here. With all the... Get a good night's rest, you two. You've both worked very... Clarand!
Ah, it's you two.
How's dinner?
It's all right. Miss Sijwin really put in a lot.
So we heard that Risley invited you to come down to help, and you saved Fremen.
Oh, it was child.
Still, Paimon didn't know even champion duelists could take on Oh, and why aren't you eating with Sijwin and the Duke? Won't you get bored eating by yourself?
Miss Sijwin was with you. And the Duke has business of his own.
Actually, didn't Navia say that you went out for dinner with her as well?
Yeah,
First time in a long time. So you mean you've got...
in the past. You seem to be enjoying yourselves here. Things will be getting messy at the fortress soon. Don't run around unnecessarily.
Good morning.
So much has happened. Paimon just feels absolutely... Paimon's super sleepy. Delicious.
Que tá tocando lá?
Paimon wants seconds.
Out of my way! Get out of my way! What happened? Why is everyone running? No idea, but something must have happened. Stop asking!
Who's yep? What happened? Why is everyone running around? Hey, what are you doing?
No time to explain, mate. Goodbye.
Hey, wait! What's wrong with these people? They won't even talk to us.
They're here! There you are!
Oh, thank goodness!
Quisto and Laveroon, do you know what happened here?
We came here especially to inform you. Something seems to have gone terribly wrong just now. Laveroon was saying you two are new here and you don't have many friends, so you might slip through the cracks. Haven't you heard all the stories like that? An evacuation is successfully completed. Yet you only find out once you do a head count that—
Wait, weren't you the one who brought that up? Why is it suddenly my—
Hey, shut up!
Okay, whatever. The point is, you should come with us. Yeah, he said to get as far away as possible, upwards and—
Oh no, it can't be that thing!
Whoa, wait, what? What? Hey, where are you going?
We have to go find the Duke! You two just go and get out! Go on without us!
Hey, hey! Be careful!
Attention! Please evacuate upwards and outwards, upwards and outwards. If you're already at the topmost layer, then try to move as far outwards as possible.
Surprise!
They're here.
Just like I said.
What happened?
You're just in time. But be ready to run. Three, two, one.
This won't hold it for long. Find Neuvillette. Tell him the defenses are about to collapse.
Then what will happen to you?
Until he arrives, we're the last line of defense. The gate. How long do you think it'll hold?
That depends on us.
Neuvillette, why are you here?
Traveler, I need you to head to the Opera House immediately. Farina will soon be meeting with the knave there. You must protect Farina, and make sure she doesn't spend too much time alone with her. Will do. You...
Step on them! Look! There are a ton of Factilian Palais Mermonia people over there! The knave is probably here already. Are you two the traveler in Paimon? Monsieur Neuvillette has left instructions. Though I'm sure he's already explained, this should be a mostly cordial conversation, unlikely to give rise to violence. But it would be most appreciated if you could protect...
Oh, so you two are the honored guests Miss Farina mentioned.
Of course, of course! How could they not attend a meeting such as this? I must always have 2 or more guests at my dessert table. Otherwise, the occasion would be too lonely and unbecoming.
It is my pleasure to make your acquaintance, traveler. I have heard much of your accomplishments. I am the knave, one of the 11 Fatui Harbingers.
I've already prepared seats for you. Come, sit beside me.
Perhaps you two are unaware of how Miss Farina and I do things. You see, we actually recently agreed to get together for tea when we had the time. See this? This is a limited type of confectionery that Miss Farina simply adores. There are only 16 slices sold every day. Here, why don't you imbibe?
Traveler, what do you think of this cake?
That's good to hear. So what Child said was on the mark after all. You do share a taste in desserts with Farina, and I wonder how he's doing nowadays. You must have heard, right? He's suddenly gone missing. I'm really worried about his safety, you know.
Since we're talking about him, I feel like I should add something. His martial prowess really looked... certainly...
Oh, so you're also familiar with his aptitude for fighting, Miss Farina. Oh, right. I almost forgot. Child was subdued by Udex Nuvillette right in front of you. Against ordinary people, my colleague would never be on the back foot. But alas, he just never imagined he'd run into such a person. I must express my admiration for Monsieur. Coming from you, that's not surprising at all.
But I thought you would be happier to hear the news.
Of course, but it's still a bit of a shame. You see, I would have been far happier had I received this news somewhat earlier. As you well know, a long time has passed since Child disappeared.
Well, in any case, there's no need to worry. We know for sure that Child is still...
Oh, and just how do you know?
Because we found evidence that proved he left the fortress...
And where did he go after leaving the fortress?
Well...
The fortress of Meripede lies deep beneath the waves. Unless he pranced right out of the main gate, he must have had to swim for it. Do you have any proof that he surfaced? Ah, that is good news at least. His sister Tonya sent a letter to Fontaine not too long ago. Since he was unfortunately unavailable. Do you have any idea how he usually writes back to his family? Dear Tonya, your letter made me feel like we were still enjoying our time in Snezhnaya together. I'm currently admiring the scenery on the streets in front of the opera house.
All letters tend to follow the same few formats anyway, right? As long as the contents are accurate, it doesn't matter so much how it's written. Hold on. The water in the teacup is shaking.
I suppose this is also a sign of things to come, Miss Farina.
Huh? I don't quite understand what you're trying to say.
Have we entered into the next stage of the prophecy?
My thanks to you both. I will take it from here.
Sure you don't need a hand?
Quite sure.
Wow. So, what's your secret, huh? Let me guess. Nah, who knows? Maybe it's just your sense of responsibility.
Sounds about right.
A day may come when the prophecy is fulfilled, and the waters burst forth. But it is not this day! This ancient power could easily obliterate an entire race. The tsunami of fury would unleash endless catastrophe. This sentence is too severe. Forgive me for overruling it.
All right. Seems like the problem inside has been suppressed.
Let me guess. We're safe for now.
Indeed. But only for now.
I win this bet. You owe me a present.
Very well. It was indeed just as you said.
You made a bet?
We made a bet on the size of your entourage. Cloran thought you wouldn't come down by yourself.
I figured you would have at least brought a few people along for appearance's sake. It appears I underestimated just how confidential the mission was.
Shouldn't you have gotten used to confidential missions by now? That's just how the courts operate.
So what gift must the loser give? Tea?
He already has tons of tea in his office.
It wouldn't happen to be a dig at my lack of legal awareness, would it?
Well, I'm sure His Grace doesn't consider the fortress to be outside the law.
I was under the impression the residents of a place like this would be uninterested in the legal codicy.
That was obviously a joke. Anyway, you've still got some unfinished business to attend to in the overworld, correct?
No need to stay here if you have a pressing matter. We all know you can't leave Pelaine Ramonia for long.
Thank you. I hope everything went smoothly with the Fatui Harbinger.
Soalnya kita aja power di KSI.
I must say, we've spent long enough playing house. Miss Farina, as the Hydro Archon, I am sure you understand the exact meaning of the phenomenon we just witnessed. Or should I say, that's what I originally thought.
What are you trying to say?
At this point, I don't think there's any more need to speak as diplomatic representatives. Allow me to speak to you now as just a Fontanian. You know, yet here you are, relaxing, drinking tea, and eating desserts as if it's all nothing more than a few stray bugs in your garden. The prophecy's hanging above our necks like a guillotine. Every faction is looking for a way to either avert the disaster or save their own. Even the orphans of the house, but you? It beggars belief just how nonchalant and carefree you have been. From the very beginning, you, the god Focalor, you have utterly failed.
You're wrong. I've never ignored the prophecy, nor have I just been passing the time in self-indulgence. Retract your accusation and stop doubting the wisdom of the gods with such absurd
I am not alone in my doubts, you know. All the children of Fontaine may be harboring the exact... Oh, great Hydro Archon. How are you going to save them? Save us? How are the people you've sworn...
I have my ways, and I've been working on them for all this time. Even if you look down upon me, you have no right to judge me. Fontaine will be saved. Even if I still cannot see the true future right now.
Then I ask you, Miss Farina, just what have you been working on? Where can we see it, and what...
My machinations are just like the prophecy itself. They will only reveal themselves at the fated time. It is just that being...
I see. As a god, the proof of your labor always lies beyond prying. Allow me to be so bold as to ask another way. Would it be possible for you to tell us the parts of your plan that are not confidential? Such as your
an emergency
Oh, that look in your eyes.
The emergency response plan is also...
Then allow me to jog your memory. Miss Farina, what is the purpose of your... And what do you plan to do with the massive amounts of indemnitium?
The Oratrice? It's just like it appears to be.
So you also have no idea. If I'm not mistaken, someone's using it to prepare for something. I first caught wind of this when Linny tried to investigate the Oratrice in the Opera House. You see, even just getting close to the core contaminated him with an extremely large amount of indemnitium. But even if that had nothing to do with you, Then what could you possibly be working on, oh great Hydro Archon? Oh, right. I almost forgot. Udex Neuvillette is not at the tea party with us today. Miss Farina, I suppose you must have ordered him away.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly right.
Of course I will. Although, I must say, Miss Farina, you seem quite... Oh, very well. Let's stop that conversation here. There are still a few slices of cake left, so please. Traveler, I heard that you were recently commissioned to handle a few matters on behalf of the Udex. Why don't you take an extra slice of cake? Those, you too.
Thank you. Paimon will take you up on that. Oh, Paimon's super full. If it's on my tea table, it must be of the highest quality. Yes, and we...
You're welcome. I'm sure the cake also felt greatly honored to be featured at Miss Farina's table. It is getting late. Why don't we call it a day? There are still a few matters.
Very well.
Mind seeing me off, Traveler? We could use the opportunity to discuss Child before I must be on my way.
Paimon's coming... The tea party. Why are you looking...
I'm glad that you were willing to come with me. Of course, Child was just an excuse. I have no interest in your dealings with him.
That's what Paimon thought.
You lent your aid to the children of the House of the Hearth, as their father. I would like... Do I look like an irresponsible father to you? The House of the Hearth is very important to me. That was all. Formal topics should be discussed in formal settings, and informal I know you just returned from the fortress of Meripede. Relax. I have no intention of trying to get anything out of you.
They've all been working very hard and have always done all they can to fight back against anyone who tried to...
You mean Wriothesley. He's a tricky one to deal with. It's unfortunate that Linny's so eager to prove himself that he... By the way, and you can just consider this a bit of idle gossip, but what's your impression? You are outside of our disputes, and the freest person in all of Fontaine, able to move around most easily.
And that's everything that happened during the trial. Master Child was declared guilty and immediately transported to the Fortress of Meripede.
Didn't he say he was coming here on vacation? Does he not feel an ounce of shame for all the Forget it. He did give us an opportunity. I will be meeting someone shortly.
Do you require help with any preparations?
No need. I will take care of it I need to meet with Farina, the Hydro Archon. She is at the heart of Fontaine.
Oh? Come over here, you little critter, you! You dare to run from me? Stop right this instant!
My goal is just to discover the location of the Gnosis. But I didn't expect the chance to approach Farina to be handed to me on a silver platter. This is so easy. Anything left unguarded is usually just bait. But no one will blame someone for taking the bait. After all, it's just as I guessed in the second before I struck. The Hydrognosis is not currently held by the Archon. In fact, This Archon doesn't seem like a god at all. And I sense that she's under...
Who are you? And what are you trying to do?
The fear in her pupils is genuine. So perhaps she's not bait after all. Either way, I left the scene with ease. Nobody came looking for me, and nobody could serve as a witness to my near assassination of Focalor. I suspect even Farina dares. Not long after, my informants confirmed what I had guessed. After returning to her quarters, Farina quietly cried alone. She was so scared that she could not... There's no doubt that there's something wrong with her. I began to entertain the possibility that she is not the true Hydro Archon. Perhaps Eudex... I have to find the Gnosis. If the Neuvillette hypothesis is correct, he is probably in possession of it. Alternatively, it might have been...
Yes, Father.
My dear children, please...
News from the Fortress of Meripede. Master Child has gone missing. On top of that, the contacts and guards we bribed...
Probably the handiwork of that...
I'm afraid
This is a good opportunity. The value of a Harbinger is much higher than most would imagine. We now have an excuse to exert... Set up a meeting for me. I would like to meet the Oh, and I have an addition.
Yes, Father.
Tartaglia's disappearance was not a part of my plan, but I can use it to make a breakthrough. With this as my excuse, the initiative belongs to the House of the Hearth. My wish to investigate the Fortress of Meripede will be a front. You should know the rest. Lenny's group is quite close to you, so they wouldn't have hidden anything from you.
You attacked the Hydro Archon?
It wouldn't mean anything, even if you shouted it from the rooftops. After all, even Farina herself is still pretending that nothing of that sort ever happened.
Alright then.
I've now had 2 chances to enjoy tea with Farina. I have to say, the leadership of Fontaine is even more inscrutable than I had imagined. I once surmised that Eudex Neuvillette must be the Hydro Archon, but now, that doesn't seem right to me either. I am a servant of Her Majesty the Tsaritsa. Over my years of service, I've learned how a real Archon conducts and carries themselves. Whether Eudex Neuvillette or Farina, neither. Of course, that is all just how I feel. Gut feelings often do not require justification. It is, however, quite amusing to me that after all my years working in intelligence gathering, I've come to realize I am at a complete loss regarding the identity. Don't you think Fontaine is quite intriguing? A catastrophe looms, yet many secrets have yet to rise to the surface. Ultimately, though, one must survive in order to do anything else. Should the need arise, You don't need to commit to anything right now, of course. I have a feeling that the situation will continue to evolve, and as your name is often connected with noble deeds, I'm sure we will work together someday. He certainly returned quickly. You must want to catch up with each other, so I'll leave you to him.
Neuvillette, is it a...
For now, yes. But this issue will prove quite thorny in the long term. I'm concerned that sooner or later the prophesized events will occur. Thank you for protecting Farina. To put it simply, I used my power to force back the Primordial Sea and reseal the sluice gate. So as expected, the knave has turned up the pressure on Farina. She's trying to feel her permission granted.
Whoa. It can't be that you're the real Hydro Archon, right? But that's... You can't tell us? Then that's okay.
If by the phrase, you guys, you are referring to Farina and I, then although I'm not sure just what you are trying to imply, I must clarify that I do not share her positions on a multitude of topics. I believe so. The fortress has a long and complex history. It has seen much grief, and now, another catastrophe will soon be upon us. I'm more...
Huh?
You may be closer to the truth than you think.
Oh? And what are you thinking? The dragon of... what? Huh?
Please do not be so surprised. Farina?
Neverland, are you listening?
Ah, my apologies.
We were just guessing randomly. We didn't guess right, did we? You're not actually the dragon sovereign of water, right? Well, if you don't want to confirm or deny...
You guessed correctly. I sincerely hope you'll be able to keep this a secret for me.
Right, of course. We'll definitely help you keep it a secret. There's still something...
Please, go...
Well, if you are the dragon sovereign of water, and you were able to force back, then since Fontaine's prophecy is all about seawater, couldn't you just use your power to solve...
None of the currently living dragon sovereigns in the world, myself included, possess our full They say that when the first usurper arrived on Tivat, they seized a part of the dragon's power. Today, that stolen power is the basis of the Archons of...
There are 7 elemental archons and 7 matching dragon sovereigns.
The dragon sovereign of water who lived through that era perished a long time ago. As their successor, I know far less of that part of our ancient... In any case, I believe I will not be able to do much unless the Archon disappears and returns their elemental authority. Given the status quo, however, I would recommend finding another way to deal with the problem.
Oh, so even you can't solve...
I still have some urgent matters to attend to at my office. If you have any more questions regarding ancient...
Please go right ahead. There's a place that Paimon wants to go. We'll see you another time.
Take care.
Dure, questa.
Over here. Step on up.
You guys are back?
You guys didn't get caught and thrown back down here, right?
Huh?
And here I thought you'd managed to escape from jail during all the commotion.
We're sorry.
All right. There's no need to get caught up in the details. We're just relieved to see.
Hey, it wasn't just me. Weren't you...
Something like... I was also transferred to work in the kitchen a few days ago. I can still hear Quisto mumbling to the carrots. Whenever he'd say that, I'd tell him I'm sure they're fine.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with worrying about your prison pal.
These two. They sure are a lot warmer and friendlier than when Paimon...
Oh, well, if you say so. I'll be watching you.
Traveler! Paimon, you're back! Are you still doing all right? Did either of you get hurt? We're fine. Both superficial injuries, but that's about the extent of the damage. Monsieur Nervulette paid us a visit. It was, oh, of course, we must also... How did Nervulette know that he was me? Monsieur Nervulette has strong resonance with the hydro element. When the water level rises, I ran into the bombshell bros while bandaging the injuries of the wounded. They were mumbling the whole time about how you just ran down without a word. I'm so relieved if you're not too pressed for time. Please just let me know if you get a craving for any particular dish, so I can have Mr. Walsey get your meals prepared. I'd like to take the opportunity to spend some more time observing your facial muscles as well. Over here! Surprise!
Now guess, what suit will this next car...
Well, well, look who it is.
Traveler, Paimon.
Looks like you're recovering nicely from an...
Thanks to everyone's support. Oh, right. I'm...
Whoa, how did...
She told me that it was nothing. It was as if saving a life...
She didn't want to stress you out, that's all. She's right, and it's best not to dwell on it.
Yeah.
Okay, but check this out. We went back to the opera house and we met the...
You met Father? Did she say anything to you?
She said a few things that were, a bit hard to understand. And
Her attitude towards you is even better than what we'd imagined. You should believe her. She has her own way of doing things, and she'll do everything in her power to help those she considers close, which...
Father is very capable, and also trustworthy.
oh, Paimon just remembered that she thought Lenny was a bit too proud as well. She said that you should learn how to rely on others sometimes.
God.
That does sound like something that Father would say.
Hey!
Are you going to stay here for the next few days?
Looks like it.
Excellent. I will host a tea.
For real? Then Paimon wants another...
Another implies that you were already served some delicious cake while you were up there. How lovely. Well, next time, you're going to have tea and snacks with us.
Over here!
Courier? Miss Seishween told me you still haven't eaten.
Yeah, I was working on something, so I forgot.
That's no excuse for... Huh?
Lurvine, we're back!
Hello there. It's been quite the mess here recently.
And you? Are you still taking the secret passageway from the infirmary to work on the ship?
Yep. That is still top secret, though. So don't say a word.
It can be a bit annoying when there are lots of people in the infirmary, but I still prefer taking that route over the one from the...
I mean, the infirmary does make it easier for you.
Oh, yeah? Then why are you also here?
You two really are just using your jobs as a cover for your relationship, aren't you?
Not at all!
Surprise!
Do my eyes deceive me, or did I just see 2 inmates come back after making it to the surface?
We wanted to see how the fortress is doing. Is everything still all...
We're fine, for the most part. Neuvillette came down and took care of the worst of it.
If that's the case, why don't you just ask him to stay here?
Oh, yeah, what a brilliant plan. Let's go convince the Udex himself to exchange the Courts of Fontaine for a puddle of water in the middle of no... He came here in a hurry and left without even stopping for a cup of tea. He did remember to take Miss Sigewinne's gift with him, though.
He sure sounds super busy.
Miss Cloran has left as well. She also took her gift from Miss Sigewinne.
Were the gifts milkshake?
Neuvillette got the milkshake. Cloran received lipstick instead.
Those aren't even remotely alike.
Well, it's Neuvillette's own fault for making Sigewinne worried about his health by working so much. But besides that, our head nurse is still pretty fond of picking out beauty products for the ladies. Oh, and I have some gifts here for you as well.
Are these from Sigewinne?
Nope, they're from yours truly. You've already wrapped up your work at the fortress, so you can return to the surface at any time. You haven't yet served your full prison term, however, so you may continue to use your cell.
For real? Then we can stay here for a really long time?
You may access the cafeteria for... Just remember to come complete your paperwork once it's time for your release.
Over here. We're back in our cell again. We're no longer prisoners, though, so it really doesn't feel the same. Being free sure feels... Huh? How did you know? Hey, that's not true! Alright, it's like we've now gone to so many places together and become friends with so many people. There are so many bad things in the world, and we're just 2 people, but we've still been You're counting Paimon today? Aren't you the only... Then let's ask Catherine to give Paimon an adventurer handbook as well. Paimon will... just our thoughts making Paimon giddy. The last time we fell asleep here, we woke up to a whole mess outside our cell. The primordial seawater... We should be safe now, right? Alright then. Good night to you, traveler.
Berapa itu? Bel.
Entering standby mode. I hope nobody disturbs me.
aren't supposed. Oh, today's our big day! We're supposed to leave the Fortress of Mirapede!
Please, sign here. This document will be effective immediately upon signing, and you two may exit the Fortress of Mirapede.
It's been so long since we've been to the surface. Let's hurry up and... Huh?
What's happening? I'm fine, thanks. But
let's go ask the Duke. Your Grace?
Ah, good to see you two. Is there something...
Yeah, what was with that earthquake just now?
Ah, that. The tremor didn't originate from the seafloor. In fact, it seems it came from the surface. Over the years of serving as the warden here, I have developed a sense for distinguishing between what occurs on the surface and what occurs underwater. Besides, the seal that Monsieur Neuvillette set in place won't fail.
So the fort...
If you recall our last incident, if there really were a problem, there would be crowds of inmates in a pen.
Huh, you've got a point. Okay, seems we need to get back at... by the way...
I believe today is...
Wait, seriously?
Ah, yes.
Yep. It's you two. That's right. Today is our last day in prison. But now that Paimon says that, it doesn't feel like... Oh, yeah. Paimon feels fond of this place now. Then be sure to come back and visit. I'll miss you.
If you've signed the release papers, then you're free to go.
You're not going to see us off?
I knew you'd ask. All right, sure.
Well, you actually agreed. No worries.
Ah, so you do have a polite...
after being down here for so long, I imagine you must feel like you're lacking companionship.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll come back to see you. Paimon really likes the captain.
I hope you won't be here as convicts the next time I see you.
We'll do our best to stay out of trouble. Well, it seems our work in the Fortress of Mirapede is finished. That's the end of another chapter in our journey. And we should probably go report to him now.
You're going to see Monsieur Neuvillette? Please pass on our kind regards.
I'm sure just your regards will do.
I believe it would be the polite thing to do.
You're right. I've heard the Palais has been terribly busy these days. Tell him that I hope he hasn't been overwhelmed by the recent string of trouble.
Surprise!
The Palais Mermonia sure is buzzing with activity today.
Halt! Huh? Oh, it's you two. Apology. Excuse me. Would you mind helping me take a look at this?
I'll be right there. Sorry, I've got my hands full here.
Everyone's so busy. Seems a lot...
Hello. You've come at the right time, but you'll have to wait for just a moment. In the meantime, please, have a seat. If you'd like to have something to drink,
That's all right.
Very well.
Let's take a break over there while we wait for him to finish his...
All right. I should wrap things up for now.
Are you done with your work?
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting. Today should be the day you were released from the Fortress of Meripede. And it appears that you have managed to complete all the release paperwork.
That's right, and we came here to see you right
A massive...
Do you have any idea what that might be?
Judging from your description, that cannot have occurred in any ordinary waters, but rather something like a whale of that size and shape cannot usually be found in the waters of Tivat. Therefore, we can only assume that Child is presently immersed in primordial...
Immersed in primordial seawater? But how? And is he okay?
Most people wouldn't be capable of entering in the first place. I'm not completely sure how he could have gotten there myself. Yes? What is it?
Ah, right! I felt it too! We asked the Duke and he said it wasn't from underwater, so we figured you might know something about it.
It turns out that I have just received a report about this particular matter. In fact, that's exactly what I was busy with a moment ago. The source of the tremor was here on the surface near Poisson. After the shaking stopped, the water levels in the Poisson area rose at an alarming rate.
The water levels rose? Oh no!
Fortunately, the water levels only rose for a short period of time, and have already returned to normal now. However, I still have a... If the change in water levels is connected with the leaking primordial seawater, then the situation in Poisson may be...
Navia should be in Poisson, right? We need to go check on her!
I would also like to go there as soon as possible, but I'm afraid I can't leave just yet. We must immediately formulate disaster prevention plans for the surrounding... I'll have to ask you two to go to Poisson first. I'll meet you there to check on the situation once I finish things here.
There's no time to lose! Let's get going!
Please be careful.
Oh no! What happened here? Navia should be around here, right? We need to make sure she's still... Paimon means we need to check on her.
Step on up!
We haven't seen a single soul all the way here. Oh, this is getting scary.
What will I ever do now?
Look, there's someone on the roof over there.
Just stay put! We're coming up! Watch your balance!
All right, just hurry!
I'm not young anymore. How will I survive on my own?
Oh, he looks pretty sad.
My leg! My leg! How could this have happened?
Just hang in there. Help is on the way. You can hold my hand.
you're here.
We heard there was a situation in Poisson, so we came as quickly as we could.
Yes. As you can see, the water level suddenly rose.
Demoiselle! There was a wounded resident next to a building southeast of here. We've already transported him to safety, but we've run out of medical supplies.
He's wounded? How?
He fell, so it's probably a broken leg. He's pretty shaken up. When the water level rose, he desperately climbed up to the roof. Once the water receded and he saw the ground, he became terrified.
He jumped down then. Find the leader of Squad 1 and tell him to take the wounded resident to see a doctor. He should know where to go.
Understood. I'll take over his search and rescue mission in the meantime.
All right. You'll be in charge. I'm sorry.
The situation...
Right. A little earlier, we suddenly heard a loud noise. At first, everyone thought that something might have exploded on an aquabus. But before we knew it, the rushing water seemed a little odd, almost like the unique color of primordial seawater. Some people didn't realize the date. Everyone on the street who happened to be close to the water didn't have a chance to escape. As the water levels rose, those who realized what was happening started to flee in a panic, desperately trying to get to higher ground. Many were injured. The Spina di Rosula initiated rescue operations as quickly as possible, but there have been a lot of casualties. Fortunately, the water that flooded the area contained primordial seawater, so the lower levels of Poisson are still hazardous. To ensure no one knows if this could happen again. All we can do for now is try our best to help.
How awful. And all of this just came out of nowhere.
It was quite frightening indeed. I only wish that everything that just happened...
Is there any way we can help, Navia?
Thank you for being so willing to help in a moment of crisis like this. You don't know how much it means to me.
Don't say that, Navia. That's what friends are for.
Demoiselle! We've got a situation here!
I'll be right... Sorry. I need to go for now.
And off she goes. Seems it might be a while before she can take a break.
Okay, the wounded are being tended to, and we finished a preliminary head count. More support has just arrived, so I suppose I finally have a moment to focus. Of course, we should remain ready for anything, and continue doing our best to rescue others. Traveler, Paimon, would you two accompany me to...
Huh? Right now?
Thank you. Not a lot of people here, huh?
time of day and the whole situation in Poisson. Paimon doesn't...
Right. That's how things are now.
Navia? Navia, what's wrong?
Sorry. I just... Malus and Silver. They won't ever come back here again. What should I do, Papa?
Huh? What happened to them?
Everyone agreed on the rescue plan, but still... I was the one who initiated. They were helping evacuate the residents, but they couldn't leave in time, and they were caught in the seawater.
What should we do?
I've known them for so long, and I know they weren't afraid. But I could at least hold a funeral for my father, and I know where he rests. But as for Malus and Silver, they're just gone. I just can't.
Everything looks so clean after it rains. Even the gravestones. I didn't expect that...
I can understand. Besides, the scenery here isn't half bad.
See, it's not just me. I always want to bring something when I visit Papa.
How could Master ever be upset with you? Yet the cemetery is the home of those who have passed, is it not? Everyone ends up here...
Buying yourself a plot in advance, are you?
No need yet. But when I do, I hope you'll let me be buried beside Master Callus, Demoiselle.
Hey, stop joking.
I'm quite serious. That way, it will save us both the trip to see each other whenever you visit your father's grave.
That makes sense. In that case, could I be buried on his other side?
After all, besides you, Demoiselle, the two of us could certainly be considered Master.
Personally, I believe we fill those shoes just...
Why are you bringing this up all of a sudden? Seriously. Oh, but I'd really prefer not to talk about this stuff. And what do you mean by saving me a trip?
I'd promised to let them rest in peace here. But here I am breaking that promise. I'm sorry for letting you see me in a mess like this. I don't usually cry, really.
Paimon doesn't know how to help you feel better. But, well, she understands how you feel.
I'd always thought I could make my wishes come true. But now that I think about it, that never solely relied on Malus and Silver have helped me so. I'm so...
You can spend as much time as you need here, Navia. We'll stay...
Thank you. Right now, you don't know how much that means. By the way, you can have a look at this. It's a list of...
Obana, Khan, Burnett, Giverny, so...
It's okay. I know what you're thinking. And the overall outcome indicates that the cost...
Right! Don't think that way, Navia. One person might be saved at the expense of another, sure. Malus and Silver were not the price for saving anyone.
You're right. Thank you, Paimon. What you said just now was pretty amazing, actually.
Oh,
Seems you've become more eloquent in the time since we last met.
The knave? What are you...
Is everything going well on your side?
Yes, my people are carrying out the mission according to your request. All the residents of Poisson have been evacuated. As for these supplies, we have everything taken care of. There is no need to worry.
Thank you very much.
Wait, do you two know each other?
We just met recently. Right, Miss Navia?
Usually, I would call this a coincidental encounter. But that doesn't quite fit this time. Besides, it never even crossed my mind that a Fatui Harbinger would come. Thanks to the knave, Spina di Rosula received generous support from the Fatui. which allowed us to complete the rescue and evacuation.
Mutual aid is essential to fostering positive developments. We were already in the area, in any case, so it was nothing. That said, I must say that you're a lot sharper than you let on. I'm sure you
I apologize for all the ways in which I tested you previously. We've never worked with a Fatui before, and it's extremely important. My subordinates have reported that Fatui soldiers have been observing water levels and taking head counts in various locations. I hear that they've also prepared a large...
This is nothing to brag about, nor do I intend to. It is simply the way of powerful organizations to act forcefully. As I've told this traveler before, I know of the prophecy, and I intend lending your organization a hand was a natural first step in accomplishing that. As such, do not be troubled by this token of our...
Without your help, there would have been many more casualties.
Furthermore, I sincerely regret what happened to Malus and Silver. I only wish that my people...
Don't say that. You and your subordinate. As Paimon said, Malus and Silver didn't choose to sacrifice themselves for any specific person. And they weren't the price. I've never liked hearing people put it that way. It's like trying to relieve pain by saying some noble-sounding word.
You're right. I'm sorry for your loss, Miss Navia. Water is life to Fontaine's people, and it also spells disaster. It's no wonder that people always say that...
So, you're one who will try to change fate?
Of course. That is why I'm going to Hotel Bouffe de Thé. I still have some things to take care of. By the way, Traveler, Paimon, one more thing.
Alright, then we'll just... huh?
That is a clever and useful conversation technique, which I do like to use when necessary. But there's no Traveler. I'm sure you remember that I said we could work together when we had... You and I both know that there may be issues with the Primordial Sea. Previously, it was the Fortress of Meripede's sluice gate, and this time it was the water levels in Poisson. Indeed. Allow me to share the latest intel I've received from the House of the Hearths during some recent investigations. A child claimed to have discovered some ruins near Poisson. The ruins date back to ancient times, and judging by the dating of the ruins, they may be related to the prophecy and the coming crisis. The situation is becoming more urgent. My people initially came to prepare for ruin exploration. Unexpectedly, this disaster struck. And at present...
So that's why the Fatui were already in Poisson.
I wanted to take the children along, but unfortunately, Linny, Lynette, and Fremine have all been... Linny told me that outside of the house, the person they trust most is you. Which is why I want to give you this task. The House of the Hearths members see each other as family, but Linny, Lynette, and Fremine said that they also see you as such. Even though I'm sure you already understand how earnest they can...
Oh! That somehow makes Paimon feel kinda...
The intel I just shared about the ruins could fetch a high price. But since the children consider you...
Got it! So all we gotta do is go to some ruins, right?
Excuse me, but may I tag along?
You wish to join, Miss Navia?
But are you sure you're up to exploring some ruins? You need to...
Well, I'm sad, yes. But I can't just go back and plop myself into a chair. There's no point in being depressed while we still have a disaster on our hands. As my father's successor, besides, I'm also doing this for myself. I need something...
Since you put it that way, I have no objections. What do you say, traveler? All right? The ruins are to the south of Poisson. Here's the map.
Okay, the three of us will handle it. Come on, let's pack up... Seems Lenny